What's a polygrid? Okay, no more delaying. Let's get right into it. It's gonna be a pretty short patch. Not that short. It's a pretty short patch. So, minor patch. Let's talk all about it. Currently, hello, my lovely looming locals. Aesop here with a piping hot dish of patch notes. As usual, it's a minor patch to help settle all the big changes we made last week. Remember, guys, we just had that major patch going into the end of season 1, like the first strength season. So they've made a bunch of big changes, especially involving the damage formulas, especially involving the final end zone, bunch of stuff. So I'm going to see if any of this stuff is really going to be changing after all that, because there were some pretty significant changes made. So, kill bonus in solo mode is the first thing that we're going to be talking about. It was originally 20 plus the character level X 2%. It's being taken down to 10%. So basically, it was really like jacked up pretty high. I think it's talking about the healing you got when you killed somebody. It got taken all the way up to 20%, like a flat 20%, plus the character level times 2. And that's being taken down to 10%. So it was healing too much, I guess, and they wanted to turn that down a little bit. Yo, what's up? What's up, Koyo? Restricted area count. Oh, okay, so basically when you killed somebody, you would get 7 seconds on your timer left in solo mode, but it's being upped to 10 seconds, probably to counteract the fact that the final end zone right now is just kind of a timer check in a lot of cases. So that's being sort of adjusted a little bit. We've reduced the LP bonus and penalties by 30% based on MMR difference between the player and whoever has killed them. Huh. So basically, the value of who you kill is being decreased, or who kills you. So if you get killed by a high-end player, or if you kill a high-end player, it's going to be worth a little bit less. Or if you are a high-end player, dying to someone who's a lot lower than you, you're not going to be punished quite as much. So it's sort of equalizing people a little bit more. I'm kind of okay with this personally. That's because, like, if I'm climbing to the higher ranks, which I normally am trying to do, I get punished less for just like dying to someone who kills me regardless, you know. Sometimes you just die to people. Like, it's not necessarily you know, MMR doesn't have to play into the fact that they got a 20 in that fast, or a plasma sword that fast and just kills me, you know. I didn't like it to begin with, because what if it first gives me 1 HP and someone silver last hits me? Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of uncharacteristic of a verse to not finish you off, but yeah, I know what you mean. Dodge penalty duration has been reduced from 24 hours to 12 hours. I like this change a lot, because I was having penalties from, like, if I dodged something at like 7 p.m. one day, I would get on at like 7:30 the next day to play, and it would still give me a dodge penalty if I dodged again. Like, it would carry that over, and it was getting ridiculous having these long penalties, you know, carry over. So honestly, I'm fine with all the changes overall. Okay, character changes. Due to the recent overhaul with the restricted area system, we've made some changes to some characters to compensate. Nadine. The E Monkey Wire cast time is being reduced from 0.2 seconds down to 0.16. It's a big change, because honestly, her E cast time is pretty long at the moment. It's not a huge change in terms of like how much it's being reduced by, but it is a nice change. I like that a lot. Makes Nadine feel a little bit less clunky. Lennox's ult feels lackluster at times. I agree, so we're giving a little extra power to help her strength across all modes. Her SP per level is being increased. Her Q cooldown is being decreased from a flat 4.5 to 4. That's actually a big change right there. Blue Viper, her R, the true damage. This is on the bleed, is being increased by quite a lot, a flat 5 at all ranks. The enhanced damage is also going up by 10 at rank 1 and 5 at rank 2. These are pretty big Lennox buffs, man. Like, it's actually really significant stuff. Especially the one that stands out to me the most is the Q cooldown. That being lowered from 4.5 down to 4 is actually huge. Because keep in mind, you can still reduce that cooldown further, and it gets like some cooldown reduction when you use it and hit targets. So that's a big deal. Like, that's actually kind of huge buff to Lennox. Might elevate her to a very viable position after those changes. Luke benefited a bit from the last area changes, so we're toning him down a bit. Attack power per level is being decreased from 2.5 down to 2. Neat and Tidy, his passive, you're getting less healing from killing Wick specifically, because killing Wick gave you like way more healing than killing a player. So it's being toned down a little bit. His Wick is a little bit less safe. Clean Sweep, his Q, the cooldown is being increased by 2 at early ranks, but staying the same at max rank. Elbow Grease is W. The movement speed increase per stack is going to be decreased by 2%, and the CC reduction is being reduced by 3%, going from 15 down to 12. Small little changes to Luke all around, reducing his early game strength for sure, making him a little bit less safe on Wick. I guess I'm okay with these changes. I don't think Luke was particularly oppressive. I thought Luke was actually kind of in the lower end recently, and I think both Korean region and NA region were rating Luke roughly in like the A to B range in the last patch. So yeah, I don't completely disagree with these, but Luke has just sort of not been the most amazing performer, at least not in the high end of play. Lee Dialin. Dialed in, her passive damage dealt with the second attack is being decreased by 10% at rank 1 and being decreased by a whole 20% at rank 3. This big changes, because honestly, wow, of all the characters to get nerfs, Dialin needed it more than anybody else. Dialin was the best character in the game pretty much definitively after the change to the damage formula, after the change to just a lot of things. It was all favoring Dialin quite a lot, so I'm glad to see Dialin get toned down a little bit here. Barbara change. Her burst was pretty high, so this is a new character coming out last week, so we know that there are going to be some significant changes. This happens every single time a character comes out, so we're going to see what gets changed about Barbara. Her burst was pretty high, R and a W anyone, so we are pushing for Barbara to deal more sustained damage instead. She's now available in ranked. Her defense per level is going up, her HP per level also going up. Retrofit, her passive. Well, I'm going to drink some water real quick. So sentry gun improvements per Barbara's level is actually being changed. They're lowering the attack power ratio by 1% and increasing the defense ratio by 0.5. Which is odd to me because I felt like one of the biggest issues with Barbara was her turret felt underwhelming damage-wise, and they're just reducing the damage even further, which I don't really like. But we'll see how the rest of it goes. Free electron laser, her W. The damage is being decreased, no surprises there. At max rank going from 200 down to 180, but rank 1 not changing, rank, it scales all the way. And the attack power ratio also being hit by 10%, pretty big changes. Overclock, her R. Free electron laser, her W. The damage increase with ultimate is being toned down by 10% at rank 3, 5% at rank 2, but it's the same at rank 1. Particle storm, her E. The duration is being increased by 1 second during the overclock, I assume? And there's a reactivation cooldown of 0.5 seconds. I don't really understand what the whole point of that is. The cooldown is being decreased. So I am seeing this as across the board Barbara nerfs. Which, funny enough, my first impression of Barbara on release was that she was extremely strong. My impression after a week was that Barbara was not good. Not exactly bad, but not great. The problem with Barbara is that she spikes super hard at level 6. She kills pretty much anyone that's around her just by using RW, right? Like, it's really, really powerful, but her turret is underwhelming. It feels like it always disappears because you want to be dropping it behind you as you're running away from things, and that just ends up causing it to despawn and doesn't actually do anything. It feels like it has no impact on any of the fights. So what I'm seeing here is just like not addressing any of Barbara's issues. Also, one of her main issues is just scaling. She has really, really bad scaling. And what I'm seeing here is just sort of nerfs across the board. Maybe there's going to be some more changes that I haven't seen yet that will fix this, but I expect Barbara to be pretty bad after this. I definitely don't expect her to do anything significant ranked. I'm just gonna leave it at that though. Let me know what you guys think. I personally don't think she's gonna be very good after that. She'll still kill someone at level 6, but then she won't scale. Winning a game with Barbara seems like really difficult after these changes. Shuichi, a little bit less attack power at his base amount. Phony deal, his passive. Gonna be dealing 10% more on the ratio. Going from 30% up to 40%. The flat amount staying the same. Sicela changes. Sicela is going to get its Q cast time reduced even further from 0.1 seconds down to 0.07. I feel like I see this every patch, but I'm okay with it personally. And attack speed is being increased. I'm kind of surprised to see Sicela get buffs, but I don't think these buffs are significant in any way. But good morning, Hexo. How you doing? Good morning, everyone. If I didn't mention you, hope you're doing well. At this rate, Soul has a 0-second cast time on her Q. You have to remember, like, the thing about her Q is that there still is sort of a delay in the sense that you do have to wait for Wilson to, like, fly over somewhere. So it's not like it's going to be instantly coming out. It's just making it a little less clunky, essentially. Which is good. Like, I'm all for quality of life changes. I don't really get the attack speed buff. This seems really random and unnecessary. I don't think she needed this. I also don't think it's going to break her in any way, but it's just random. I just don't get it. That's the thing that's confusing me. I just don't get it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just don't get it. Sylvia changes. Power slide. On the bike, the cooldown is being decreased by 0.2, a very tiny amount, and making these numbers way less ugly, going from 3.7 at rank 1 down to 3.5, and 1.7 at rank 5 down to 1.5. It's going to be feeling really good at the max rank, honestly. Magnus Q cast time less than 1. Honestly, like... Man, you guys should have seen original Magnus Q time. It was like double what it is currently. I think his Q is actually in a good spot right now. Used to be so much longer. His current cast time, it's honestly kind of fine. They saw your new build and gave her more attack speed. Dude, I'm more excited to run my build now with that extra attack speed. That's super exciting. Shukai changes. Heavy meal, his W. The slow amount is being increased at early ranks, but staying the same at max rank. Burnt to a crisp, his ultimate, the passive ratio is being increased from 0.9 up to 1.0. Shukai has sort of not been showing up a ton in general. This is not necessarily me thinking Shukai is weak either. I don't even know if Shukai needs buffs right now. But this is going to just be a little bit of a Shukai buff. Kind of interesting. Any games after this? No, I'm just going to do patch notes and then probably wrap it up after that. Adela. A little bit less attack power, going from 37 down to 34, just on her base amount. And control the center of her passive, the attack ratio for every 0.1 attack speed is being increased from the same at rank 1, but rank 3 is going from 0.8 up to 1.0. Pretty decent sized buff for max level passive. But I don't think they were, honestly, I don't feel like, I don't know if Adela mains were taking max passive, but either way, that's a nice little buff. Adela should not be complaining about this. Adela, honestly, in pretty damn good shape at the moment, so I'm kind of surprised to see this. But at the same time, I'm not sure if the world has caught up to the fact that Adela is actually pretty good. So yeah. Emma changes. A little bit more SP per level. Kind of makes sense, but honestly this is a buff if you think about it, because her passive, I think it's her passive, gives her additional damage when she autos based on her mana, like up to a certain, like it's like every few seconds or so it has a cooldown. So yeah, it's actually kind of a nice buff for her. It's a that'll add up at, you know, level 10 she'll have an additional 40 mana. It's not a ton, but it's something. Jackie changes. Leaping Strike. Her E is going to be slowing for even more. Huh. It's a Jackie buff. Honestly, her slow is already really significant. I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm never a big fan of Jackie buffs, but at least they're not buffing her ratting potential. I hope they, like, look, if you're gonna buff Jackie's offensive, like, fighting potential, match it with a nerf to her ratting. That would be nice. Kathy. Kathy is performing slightly too well in all modes. I agree. These changes should promote and reward a bit of skill-based gameplay. Under the knife shield passive, it's going to be getting decreased by 10% on the ratio. No other changes. In amputation, the W, the damage is being decreased by a flat 5 at all ranks, in addition to 10% less on the ratio, going from 40% down to 30%. Extra damage on the outer edge is going to be getting increased though to compensate with the 10% ratio being tacked on. So it's basically shifting the power even more so away from the whole cone to just the outer rim. Like they said, promoting skill-based gameplay, you actually have to land the tipper rather than, you know, just enjoying the full damage on the cone, or at least pretty similar to full damage on the cone. Heart change, evolve delay. This is her Q. The slow amount is being decreased at rank 1, which is, by the way, the only rank that matters because no one goes rank 2 on the slow. Thank you all. It's basically, it's going from 35 down to 30%, a pretty significant nerf to Heart, and honestly one that kind of needed to happen because I feel like her slow was sort of just taken for granted at how good it was. And Evolved Overdrive, the W, the thing that never, ever, ever gets used, is getting a 5% increase to the defense reduction at rank 2. You'll still never see this ever taken because there's no reason to take it. Anyways, weapon changes. Due to the formula changes, skill amp became slightly weak. Slightly? Became really weak. We're making up for that in some of the scalings on weapon types. Pistol. Getting some more, going from 2.1% up to 2.3. Devil's Marks are getting a little bit of a buff too. Okay, I am channeling my inner game developer. They're gonna buff a Spy Umbrella. Please, God, buff Spy Umbrella. Also nerf Agni. Anyways, glove changes. Please also nerf glove. A little bit more spell amp, but a little bit less attack speed. And White Claw punches up to 33% freaking crit chance. Are you kidding me? This is the highest I think it's ever been, and I think the highest we've ever had on a weapon. Has a weapon ever broken 33% crit chance? That is so much crit chance on just one weapon. Jesus. Why is this being slept on so hard right now? God, that is significant. White Claw Punch had a period in the meta where it was very, very powerful. That was a long, long time ago, actually, now that I think about it. It's back when Dylan was originally very broken, and Dylan is broken again, and White Claw Punch is completely unused with 33% crit chance. Are you kidding me? This thing is good. It's a 2-zoner. You can build it between Cemetery and Chapel. It's a good freaking weapon. Surprise is not being taken. That being said, I understand why Bloodwing Knuckle is insane, and you're going to transition to Mithril Gloves anyways, so you might as well just build Bloodwing Knuckle, so whatever. You know what? Whatever. Guitar changes. Charm duration decreased. This needed to happen. Much needed heart nerfs. Going from 1.5 seconds on the charm down to 1.2 seconds. God, thank God. This was so long for no reason. If Heart landed the charm, she guaranteed to win the fight. She was guaranteed to win the fight pretty much in the late game. Of course, if we're talking about E9 Heart, which is the most popular version of Heart. And man, this change needed to happen. Cooldown also being decreased to compensate a little bit. Remember 2 seconds charm? Boy, do I remember. Bohemian change. Getting 3 more attack power, but a little bit less max HP. Satisfaction getting a little bit more ENAD because it's kind of underused at the moment. Assault rifle changes. Type 98. Okay, well, we did see the Agni nerf, by the way. Sorry, I skipped ahead. Had to skip ahead. Attack speed going from 33% down to 25%. This was visible from a mile away. This had to happen, and here it is. A little bit of a nerf to Agni. Type 95, 3 more attack power, and attack range up to 1 from 0.5. I might actually see some Type 95s get built now. It was a little bit underwhelming in general. I've always, whenever I've seen a weapon get plus 0.5 weapon range, it's always been completely pointless. But going up to 1 is pretty significant, so that's pretty exciting. XCR, 3 more attack power. Interesting. Rapier changes. Seeing a lot of Rapier changes. Less crit strike damage on Needle. This is going from 25% down to 15%. I always said that thing was overstated for a white weapon. Why does it have 25% crit chance? Fencing Rapier. This is the green one, I think. Losing some crit damage as well. Apricot Sword, losing some crit damage. Durandal, losing 5% crit damage. Voltacleto, losing 10% crit damage. Meteor Claymore, losing 5% crit damage. Joyous, 30 down to 20. Mistleton, 33 attack power up to 35. In a slew of crit damage nerfs, also Apricot Sword got 5 more attack power, but in a slew of nerfs to crit damage, we see Mistleton get a little bit, plus 2 on the attack power. I'm perfectly fine with all these changes, and it's because Crit Kiara has been terrorizing me lately. I think that build is kind of busted, and one of the most terrifying things in the entire game. Maybe that's to do with Auto Head being broken, but man, I'm okay with these. I'm not complaining about these. The Mistleton change is kind of funny, but I'm not complaining about these at all. I'm actually kind of a huge fan. Meteor Claymore, scary weapon. Hammer changes. Per weapon mastery level, a little bit more attack speed, so it's less pathetic, and a little bit more amp as well. Dual swords getting a little bit less normal attack amplification, and a little bit less attack speed as well. Loigorns are getting a little bit extra skill damage to compensate for the, amp stuff just being kind of weak right now. Nunchuck. More attack speed per mastery. Interesting. Huh. That's, it's a little bizarre. Wait, 120 scaling? Oh. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a mystery. Shuriken changes. Caltrops. Ooh, 5 seconds shaved off the Caltrops cooldown. Also, Wind and Fire Wheels gaining 2 attack power, Death Rune gaining 2% amp, because this thing was underwhelming as hell after all the changes to amp recently. And also we have Pedal Torrent gaining 5 attack power, but losing 20% crit damage. It's a lot, even though that number kind of didn't mean anything on this weapon anyways. Spear changes, Genshin Silvergun. 3 more attack power, 18-foot spear, 4 more attack power. I don't know how they landed on these numbers. They maybe rolled a d6 or something. Lance of Poseidon gaining 2% more CDR. Yeah, honestly, I'm with you, Mixana. I kind of don't dislike any of these changes yet. So far, 90% of this patch has been kind of on point. Thunder Whip, more attack power. This thing is a little bit less pathetic now, going from 30% up to 40%. It's still extremely low on the attack power. Plasma Whip, gaining 4 attack power, and Bloody Ninetales gaining 4 flat amp. They low-key could double what they buff on Hammer. I kind of agree. Hammer could use a little bit more. I wouldn't complain, personally. Throw weapons. Spiky Bouncy Ball. Okay. They finally hit the random skill healing reduction not being reduced from these weapons. I was kind of shocked at this during the ERCL cast, so I'm glad I was able to cover it here. They're all being reduced. Spiky Bouncy Ball going down to 25%. Ruthenium Marble going down to 25%. Bloody Ninetales actually better than the other whip now. Bloody Ninetales was always objectively better than the other whip. Like it actually always was. Not by a whole lot, but it was objectively better. It had more amp. It had more attack power as well. It also had lifesteal for whatever reason, but it was always better. So they're fixing the healing reduction on both Elemental Bow, Twin Bow, Spiky Bouncy Ball, Ruthenium Marble, as expected. Grenade of Antioch, gaining 5 Enad. Odd choice. Tonfa, the reflected damage is being increased. Dude, if you guys were watching my stream earlier today, I got completely nuked. I was playing Bernice or something, I don't even remember. I got completely nuked by a Tonfa Hyun who reflected in my face as I shotgunned him twice. And it actually did like half my HP, and they're increasing the damage, and I'm not complaining about it. Like, I thought it was sick in the moment. But going from 70% at rank 2 up to 90% is a significant increase in that damage. Like, really, that's really high. There was a period of time where Tonfa Reflect used to be about 3x or something the damage that it originally was. Like, if you did like 1 damage, it would reflect back 3 or something like that. It was some completely broken, absurd number. Hyunwoos would just build full tank and try to kill people by reflecting their damage back on them, killing them in one shot. If a bow character was stupid enough to throw a rain of arrows up in the sky near a Hyunwoo, the Hyunwoo would mad dash to the center of it, because this was back when rain of arrows actually did like 4 times the damage it does right now. Stand in the center, throw down the reflect, and murder whoever threw it, and it was insanely broken. It would actually one-shot the caster. Where was I going with this? The point is, they're buffing the reflect damage. It's gonna be a little bit stronger now. Getting closer to the way it used to be, but not quite there yet. This is significant. Like, don't sleep on Tonfa. I think Tonfa is actually gonna be pretty good, especially after this change. Bow changes. What? Elemental Bow going from 38 flat amp to 45? Averse, who are you paying to get these buffs, man? Why? Okay, guys. Elemental Bow goes from 38 up to 45. Control F bat. No? Control F, what is it called? Spy Umbrella. Oh, that's weird. Nothing's coming up because I spelled it umbrella. Spy Umbrella? No changes? Really? Hang on. What's the amp on Spy Umbrella right now? Let me just double check real quick. Let me just confirm. Spy Umbrella currently at 30 flat amp on a melee weapon that is not broken and kind of underpowered, and no changes. But Elemental Bow getting a bit of a buff. Okay, I see. Yeah. And by a little bit of a buff, I mean 7 whole freaking flat amp. Yeah, that seems about right. I don't see anything wrong with that, personally. Well, anyways, I guess it is what it is, and I can't do anything about it at this point. Twin Bow, attack power going from 70 up to 74. The healing reduction is being fixed. Ancient Bolt gaining 3 Enad. Armor changes. Ooh, Mithril Armor losing 5 defense. I think this thing was way overstated, and I'm happy to see it get toned down just a little bit. Good change. Head, Opera Mask, losing 0.05 movement speed as it kind of needed to, because it was why on earth did they even buff its movement speed in the first place? It's already insane. In combat's 0.2. Out of combat is 0.2 plus 0.3. It was 0.35, so you'd get 0.55 out of combat for having a Chinese Opera Mask. Completely broken piece of headgear. So they're nerfing it just a little bit. That's a good change. Elysian Halo's losing 5 attack power. Thank God that thing was broken. Imperial Crown also. Ooh, what? Whoa. You guys see this? I'm not gonna get a big deal out of 20 HP, but 350 on one piece of gear that already has 20 defense. Crown is looking real good right now. For reference, let's talk about Crown. Crown is currently at 20 defense. It will be at 350 max HP and 10% skill amp. Compare it to, I know it's an arm piece, but we're going to compare it to Burnished Aegis because the stats are pretty similar. Currently at 320 max HP, 12 defense, 8 attack power, and some SP. Crown is now a better Burnished Aegis, and Burnished Aegis was already pretty overstated to begin with. This is huge, and I can bet you $1 million we're going to see an Imperial Crown nerf go down from 350 to about 300 by the end of, I'd give it 2 months. 2 months, Imperial Crown's HP is 300 or less. Or, what do I do? I don't know, I can't think of anything. I'll ban Mia's Ray from Eternal Return, how about that? Just pulled something out of a hat. Anyways, Elysian Halo, losing 5 attack power. Arm changes, Cube Watch. Cooldown reduction going from 6% up to 8%. It's a pretty big buff. This thing was already kind of nice. People have been kind of pushing more towards Cube Watch in general. Interesting to see it get a little bit of a buff. Kind of promote more of that use. Maybe push people away from radar a little bit, since they're also nerfing the defense on radar. Pretty big change. Bracelet of Scotty gaining 3 flat amp as it kind of needed to get it. It was at 24, but man, the amp just kind of sucks right now, so this is a good change. Leg. These are shoe changes. Maverick Runners getting a little bit of a buff because no one really built them anymore. And by buff, I mean it's actually kind of a nerf because they're nerfing the overall speed when you're out of combat, going from 0.45 down to 0.35, but you're gaining 0.05 in combat, so it evens out to plus 0.5 in combat, but minus 0.5 out of combat. Straight Jacket Sneakers getting 2 flat amp, going up from 10 to 12. Mithril Boots losing 2 defense. Glacial Shoes going from 20 flat amp to 24, gaining a little bit more movement speed in combat, but trading some out of combat movement speed to compensate. So it's just buffs for Glacial Shoes across the board. Accessory changes, buff to Emerald Tablet. We've been seeing buffs to Emerald Tablet for several patches now. You gotta start paying attention to this thing. It's not bad anymore. It's at 18 attack power instead of 15 now. It's at 18 defense instead of 15. Now, also keep in mind, it's already kind of stacked with 15% crit chance and 10% CDR. Tablet looking real good right now. It's definitely just a straight upgrade to Buccaneers Doubloon. If you're on a Doubloon and you have an extra 4 score and you don't need to make a frag rack or whatever, consider going into a Emerald Tablet now. It's actually pretty damn good. But the only thing is that now that we have Auto Head, now that we have, you know, such powerful 4-score weapons like Frag Rack, it's really hard for players to justify an Emerald Tablet, and I understand that. So it's up to you, it's up to your build, but some builds don't really necessarily have a 4-score weapon to go to, so Emerald Tablet looks really good for those types of characters. Consumables. Spicy Fish Stew, getting a change. It's no longer carp. It's now going to be cod in boiling water. Ooh. Kind of going back to the old ways of, yeah, it's back to 550 and only 2 per craft, so it's basically the old school version of, what's it called, Spicy Fish Stew. Kind of an interesting change, but keep in mind this is still a Shukai nerf because you can't just sit in pond where there's what is it, 9 fishing poles. You have to go to, you know, one of the ocean zones where there's only 4 fishing poles per zone. So you still can't just free farm your stacks as Shukai. You have to move between 2 zones. It's not quite the same, but it's a little bit less of a nerf. We're gonna see a change to fish fillet with egg. The recipe is going from cod and egg to carp and egg. Huh. First thing that jumps out to me here is that it kind of ruins the idea of, like, when I'm in forest, I can generally just grab honey and eggs. Just like stack up all the honey, stack up all the eggs, run to an ocean zone, make a bunch of honey cod steak. But now there is carp just in forest. And like Magnus Ape just mentioned, there is also carp just in cemetery, and there's eggs in both of those zones. So you can make honey cod steak, or I keep saying honey cod steak, fish fillet with egg entirely within cemetery or entirely within forest. So when those are like the final zones and you need food pretty badly, this is not a bad, you know, it's not a bad recipe anymore. I just want glazed ham to be a thing. Dude, when I'm making the rum ham, put the rum ham in the game. Anyway, boiling water. You're getting a little bit more SP regen off of boiling water. Boiling water just got a little bit more delicious. Anyways, mastery changes. Wait. Weapon mastery change is being changed, or weapon mastery experience is being changed. The EXP you get per weapon mastery is being decreased. They're lowering the value of gold crafts. So Agni, Mistleton, things like this, you're getting 100 less XP. It's not a huge change, but it's a change. Additionally, player kill value is being decreased from 200 down to 150. So that is actually a pretty significant change. Kills are going to be worth a little bit less for mastery, so it's a little bit less snowball-y. Area changes. 1 more hat and pond, 1 less snare. Sure. Okay, I'm not going to go through every one of these, but I want to see any that stand out. First of all, already super excited to see 1 less bow for 1 more paper in archery range. That is huge because paper sucks to get out of archery right now, because like so many paper reliant builds are spawning in archery right now. We're seeing 1 more fan, 1 more nail in exchange for 1 card and 1 can in Avenue. Actually, cutting down on the number of cards hurts me personally because I find cards are already kind of hard to get for some reason in Avenue. I don't know why. There's 8 of them. It shouldn't be hard, but sometimes it is. But this is a good change. Like overall, this is a very good change. And they also nerfed the solo kill EXP game. Did they? Is that back at the beginning? No, this is healing. I'm pretty sure this is healing. Like when you kill somebody. If that's what you're talking about. Let's see here. So yeah, Avenue, that's changed. What else? Hospital, 1 more alcohol. That's a very, very important change. Big fan of that for 1 less camera. Honestly, I feel like it should go up to 6 alcohol. Alcohol is actually super contested at a hospital, and there's really no reason for there only be 4 in here. A lot of the food recipes in alcohol or in hospital are reliant on alcohol. We're talking about mocha bread, talking about first aid kits. They're very contended for food, and if you need alcohol for a weapon like Fuma Shuriken or something, routing to hospital is essentially impossible. You can't reliably get alcohol out of this zone as a 3rd zone or a 2nd zone because they tend to get swept up pretty quickly. So I would like to see this go to 6 at some point, but 5 is a good step. Factory change, 1 more bandage for 1 less Fedorova. Chapel change, more bottles and more bike helmets. Thank you. The bike helmet struggle in Chapel was real. This was the hardest thing to get out of Chapel. Yeah, I will link you the notes. I don't mind. Here you go. It was impossible to get bike helmets out of this. Also, Lenny, what's up, buddy? No, Private Story. I already talked about this. He was saying in addition to this. In addition to this. Okay. Team mode adjustments. Barbara. Getting the old-fashioned -4%, -6%, etc., etc. Zahir. -2% in duo. -3% in squads. That's for Shuriken, but for throw, it's going down to 88% in duo and 84% in squad. My god. So you're getting hit with quite the nerf in duos and squads, and honestly, I'm personally okay with this because I feel like he is really good in team modes and kind of always has been. Kathy also getting hit a little bit, losing 2% in both modes. And we're almost done here. Yeah, bugs and improvements. Yup. Just some stuff. Nothing really too exciting, guys. That was one of the shortest patch notes we've ever covered. We also kind of just blazed through it as fast as possible. Okay, maybe it was about a 30-minute patch notes review still, but I tried to keep it as short as possible. Guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for stopping by. It's a short stream. It's a short patch notes discussion, but thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.